Today, the biggest AAA gaming token in the history of crypto gaming went live and is tradable now, the off-the-grid Gunzilla token. In this video, I'm going to go over everything you need to know A to Z about this token launch, and of course, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I think some things were done very well. I think there's good potential given where they launched in this market. However, there are some downfalls that I do want to talk about. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And as always, before we jump into the bulk of the show, be sure to drop down, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single day here and every week on In the Game. We have you covered from crypto gaming, AI, meme coins, RWA. I know the market is slow and a little bit rough right now, but of course, these are the times to lock in and be ready for whenever the actual bull run does kick in. And as well, a big shout out to our sponsors here on the channel. We have some incredible sponsors from Cradle Games, Ledger, we have 𝗪𝗡𝗀𝗀, Moontropica, as well as Medieval Empires, and you can check out our exchange partners down below. Obviously, this is a trader's market at this point in time. It's not a holder's market, so you can check out Blowfin down below. No KYC, this is definitely my recommended trading platform, and we also have trading going live very soon. We're in the testing phases right now behind the scenes on Nexus, and our Google Play Store app just went live, so now you can check out Nexus, the application and software I use every single day on this show. You can download it absolutely free on your iPhone and on Android. So you can check that out down below in the description as well. Now, let's jump into it. And look, today, the market is, a little bit sideways. Bitcoin's up about 1.2% on the day. And of course, the big news today is the #1 overall game in crypto finally launched their ecosystem token. So the Guns token for Gunzilla's Off the Grid is now officially live, trading at a $60 million circulating market cap, and it is trading at about $1 billion fully diluted market cap. So, in all totality and being very objective, I'm going to jump into the goods, the bads, the uglies. We're not going to waste any time in this video because this launch is a landmark for crypto games. And also it's going to set the statute for the future of what type of games can generate certain types of funding. And also, will gaming launches start being accepted by Binance again after one of the giants has finally gone live and is sitting at a $1 billion fully diluted market cap? So let's just dive into it piece by piece. Like I said, I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything in this video because I think that we have to be hypercritical and also celebrate at the same time, right? So obviously, it's been years in the making that a token like this from a studio like Gunzilla Off the Grid goes live. And if you haven't jumped in to the game Off the Grid, it is, easily the best game in crypto. I don't think there's any dispute on that. I've seen comments about the optimization, but if you jump in right now, the game functions a lot better than it did a couple months ago. And I saw my playtime the other day. I've put days and days of playtime into this game, like in total, in hours to days playtime. So at that point, it is one of the more fun games I've played over the last couple of years in any industry. Not a lot of games, the new Call of Duties don't captivate me the same way. So, Gunzilla Off the Grid, they have shown potential to have staying power. And of course, there are people that play this every single day. There's 2,000 viewers on Twitch right now. There's a lot of active players, a lot of active streams as well. So this is being broadly accepted by people outside of the crypto sphere. And I think that that's a very bullish factor. But the token is definitely geared towards crypto people. So the Gunzilla token opened trading today on Binance. Obviously, few landmarks. $1 billion market cap off the start. We're going to start with the goods, obviously. As we go through the video, I'll nitpick at a few things that could have been done better, maybe some timing things, as well as just was this an overall successful launch? And looking at the market cap, and given the current market sentiment, okay, I actually do think that trading at $1 billion market cap, fully diluted, in this market is an overall success. If we just look at where gaming tokens are right now, and if we filter it by FDV, we're looking at a market that's pretty freaking rough whenever it comes to gaming coins. And even Immutable is only valued slightly above Gunzilla at this point in time, right? It's like $8 million more on fully diluted market cap. So, from a trading perspective, the ecosystem, the amount of transactions that this game and ecosystem has processed, look, I think it is an overall success given the market climate, okay? And when we get into the bad and the ugly, that's where I'll talk about. I think the timing could have been way better on this launch, but nonetheless, let's keep rolling through the good here. So obviously, I do think it's a pretty bullish factor given the fact that the market is about the worst place it's been in quite some time. And a lot of gaming coins are just absolutely eating crap right now, right? Like Sandbox used to be multiple billions of dollars for no reason, of course, but now it's sitting at 800 million, Mocha Network at 700 million. You look at stuff like Prime at 394. So a lot of these coins are just beaten down. So when you look at the valuation versus other gaming coins on a fully diluted perspective, it definitely is a success. It immediately places it among one of the biggest, if not competing for the biggest gaming token in the entire market. So that is obviously a part of the good. And I think if you look at the quality of game, this is by far the best game in crypto. So if someone's coming in looking to invest in something, this is one of the games that's going to catch their eyes. And there's only 6% circulating supply. This will be a little bit of a good and a bad thing. I think a lot of people are scared that this is going to fall under the low float, high FDV model, which we've seen fail over and over and over again. But there's two factors here. Most people don't have exposure through pre-sales or tokens or nodes. Like a lot of these things were just sold privately. So there could be a lot of buy pressure into this token once the Binance launch pool sell pressure is gone. So like I said, most people, despite this being the top game in crypto, don't have investment exposure, which leaves a lot of people in this market climate specifically to potentially have some capital ready to buy if this thing does dip. And of course, the unlocks and the vesting are actually very bullish for investors. If you were thinking there's going to be a bull run in the next 6 to 12 months, most investments are locked up at least for 6 or 12 more months because of the cliff periods. So there are small token unlocks for certain rounds today, but not a lot is really going to be circulating on the market as far as early investors. And with the cliff system, you're actually going to see not many tokens come into circulation for the next 6 to 12 months, as the cliffs are typically 6 months or 12 months on this token. So it's very long vesting, which actually gives runway for this coin if gaming heats up or if the market heats up regarding altcoins in general. I do think that Gunzilla, the tokenomics here, are actually ripe for either inorganically pumping or just in general. I think it could actually have a pump if the market climate does kick up, given the fact of where they launched, right? Sentiment currently is maybe the lowest we've been. I've seen on the timeline that sentiment is the lowest we've been since, around FTX levels. People are so bearish given the tariffs, the job numbers, all this stuff that's going on with the Trump administration. So trading at $1 billion, given what's going on in the market, is actually pretty impressive. And I do think that there's going to be demand for this coin, especially when the market kicks back up, because most of the time, the quality games are where the money's going to flow. And with the unlock schedule, I think money could go into this token over the next few months if we see a bullish uptrend. Because like I mentioned, there's only 2 rounds here that get day 1 unlocks, okay? And that's community incentives and liquidity pool. The Binance launch pool also got unlocked today, but that's 4% of the 6% circulating supply. So I wouldn't be surprised to see sell pressure today and over the course of maybe the next couple days, and then maybe an accumulation after that. And I know they have good market makers on this token, so I would assume they might even be suppressing price right now or trying to hold up the price while those sells go through, and maybe ramping up for a bigger push, bigger marketing, more liquidity, etc. And of course, the biggest pro from this is now we're moving towards mainnet. So this is one step closer to the economy actually being live, where I see the most potential, because they're going to use 30% of studio revenue to buy back the token. So this actually brings value accrual back to the Gunzilla token, which in my opinion, more games and studios need to adopt this mentality. I think not enough of these teams are putting money back into the ecosystem to support their actual community, because at the end of the day, community is what's going to drive the value of this token over time. Like, if the game craters, if development ceases for some reason, which it won't, not with Gunzilla, but still, you have to drive value back to the people who are actually spending money in your game. And for token holders, this is very important. So 30% is actually going to go to a buyback system of all revenue from the Gunzilla token. And this is going to be pretty simple because they take 5% of all marketplace fees. On top of that, there's the battle pass system, which has over 100,000 monthly subscribers as of just a couple weeks ago. And you can see here, the trading demand is about to kick up. You can see different supplies on different skins here. And right now, people are starting to speculate a little bit. We're still in testnet, so you cannot trade these yet. But convict pants and shorts are making sales at those gun prices of $8,000, okay? So a lot of people have these assets ready for mainnet, and then they'll start to trade them. I think these values are gonna be super speculative until mainnet actually gets here, but we're gonna go over actually on tomorrow's video how to make money with your assets in the game, things that I would be prioritizing, the assets that I'd be chasing, as well as just my overall strategy leading into mainnet. And for those of you curious, you will eventually also be able to trade and actually sell your items for real world value on OpenSea. So the Guns network, the actual Gunzilla blockchain, which is powered by Avalanche L1, is supported by Off the Grid, or by OpenSea, pardon me, and you will be able to trade your assets there, all of your in-game items, and using the Gun token, which will work for any game built on the Guns blockchain. So I think there is a lot of good in this launch. I think that from top to bottom, given the market climates, successful valuation, given where we are, I think that's the one caveat, because when I go into the bad and the ugly, we'll talk about that part, because I think the timing here could have just been way better. But nonetheless, best game in crypto, $1 billion FDV, assets are going to be live soon. People are now starting to speculate what those assets are going to be worth whenever mainnet gets here. One step closer to mainnet launch, one step closer to node launch. And of course, I think where they launched in this market gives it potential upside in the future, unlike certain tokens from last year that launched at the peak and then never saw any appreciation from there because, of course, market climates went bad and then the vesting schedule started to kick in. So long vesting here could actually give people accumulation time period on the Gun token. Let's get into the bad. The bad is timing. Market climates right now, this is not going to stimulate the gaming market. This is not something that resets the market at all. And honestly, with the 6% float, the fact that this is trading at 60 million, we're looking at FDV here on the right side of my screen here on the Nexus app. And as you can see here, the Guns FDV is higher than Radium, Injective, is higher than Ronin, Helium. There's a lot of premier tokens here that it's trading at a higher FDV than. And there's not actually too many tokens in crypto above $1 billion FDV. So they're hovering at that $990 billion or $990 million mark. I think that's a strong point. But then you filter to the circulating market cap and you're looking and this is no shade to any games that I'm going to bring up, but we're talking about the premier game in crypto. Big Time's trading at 88 mil. Anime Coin, worthless. I'm just going to say that, worthless. 96 million. You have Metis at 97 million. B3 at 120 million. Zentry at 71 million. You have Wilder World at 64 million. And then Guns is down here at 60 million. Barely trading above Sundog whenever it comes to circulating market cap. Okay, so, and obviously we always say FDV is a meme and look at the circulation, look at the vesting schedules. But now investors are much smarter in the gaming space, and especially this time around. Last cycle, 4 years ago, yeah, we would invest in any given thing if the market cap is low. And we're talking about circulating market cap. Like if last cycle, if I looked, just given the alt season that we had, how gaming was in the focus, if I saw 60 million for a game like Off the Grid and Gunzilla, I would be buying immediately. But right now, gaming investors are so tired of being just absolutely duped into buying these tokens, and then over time the vesting schedules just destroy it. The value accrual isn't there, but I do think Off the Grid has strategies to maintain this long term. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great. The 60 million, the 6% float, the low float, high FDV. I do think eventually over time, those sells are going to be rampant inside this ecosystem. So I hope that they have some backup plans here. Obviously, the buybacks could sustain this long term, but it really could fall into another one of those examples of an extractive, low float, high FDV. However, I'm so bullish on the timeline that they launched, given the fact that if we saw an alt season, this token will fly because there's only 6% circulating. But that brings me to the next bad. And there's two-pronged approach here. The timing is okay because the market's down. So if the market flies, like I just mentioned, this token could appreciate. The bad is they did not capitalize on the momentum that they had, okay? At one point, these Twitch numbers were hundreds of thousands of viewers on this game. And if they would have lined up around that time period when they had the ball in their court like no other, and still in the crypto sphere, they're still the best thing. But in the traditional gaming sphere, there was a point in time where every streamer, paid or not, was playing this game. And if they would have launched in October, November, when this was happening, this coin would be trading at a $2 to $3 billion market cap. And then we had, Bitcoin cross 100K, all-time highs after election, heading into inauguration. We were still bullish, and there would have been no unlocks. So this timing would have actually probably set a trend in the gaming space and could have been one of those next launches that brought liquidity to other games, that could have repriced the market a little bit, because you see the FDV that it's trading at, you see the circulating market cap, you see the trading activity. People start comparing other games and ecosystems and start deeming things undervalued. It could have stimulated the gaming market like we saw with Parallel, Big Time, Pixels, Mavia. But this time around, it's not going to do that because of where we are in the market. And of course, this would have launched 3 times higher if they would have capitalized on that momentum. But I do see their point of view. You don't want to just stick the crypto part up front and say, oh, we're launching the token off the back of all these traditional gaming influencers. However, the hype for mainstream gamers was way higher 5 months ago than it is today. So that is the only concern there for me. They could have timed this up to really blow this up, have all the attention, potentially all those streamers speculating that they could trade all these assets. It could have been a good snowball effect, but I think for the credibility perspective, that's why they backed off of it. But man, I mean, this token would have launched way higher if they would have capitalized on that momentum. I think those are really the only two things I would say bad. And of course, that mainnet isn't live today. So if we saw a lot of people on the timeline today trading items, trading packs, speculating, I think a lot of attention would flow right back into this game as far as interest goes. But because mainnet isn't lining up with token, and inside their Discord, someone asked, well, when does the testnet tokens go away? And they said the date is to be determined. That's not too bullish for me. So I don't like that. I think we should have immediately rolled into mainnet here, because we could all be speculating on assets. And that's where the value accrual would come from. People would either buy guns to spend it or be putting it into the token sinks, which go into buybacks. So I think that was a big flop as well. And then the ugly. This tweet came out a few hours ago from CRADLE, which a lot of the early investors, and of course this doesn't apply to 90% of the people that are going to watch this, probably 99%, because like I said, the token was hard to get your hands on. But changing vesting terms the night before TGE is pretty skeptical, pretty shady activity. And while I love this team, I've talked to Gunzilla 50,000 times. I know their team very well, been to dinners with these guys. I think what they're doing is great. But even if it was Binance forced, they took away the token unlocks for certain seed and strategic investors, and now they're all cliffed. So investors who have had their money in this game for 5 or more years didn't get anything out of it today, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the fact of the matter that they changed the tokenomics literally yesterday. And if you didn't accept the change, you only get a refund. So I thought that was pretty dicey in that regard. However, I think that, nonetheless, just given all of this, and like I said, this doesn't affect most people that will be watching this video. However, changing vesting terms last minute on investors that have had money in your ecosystem for 5 years is a little bit dicey, to say the least. But overall, I think it was a successful token launch given this market. I think where they launched in this market could provide for some upside because not a lot of tokens are going to be coming into circulation. So if altcoins or gaming does have some sort of a run in it, I think Gunzilla will lead the charge. I think that circulating market cap is a little underwhelming, but I do think the FTV is pretty solid. I think they flopped not having mainnet live today, but we are one step closer to mainnet, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. But all in all, I think it was a success, but it's not going to move the needle in gaming because of where the market is right now and because they didn't piggyback off that momentum in October, November when all the biggest streamers in the world were playing this game. So guys, that's about it for this video. I felt like I was pretty objective, as much of a bull as I am on gaming, as much of a bull as I am on off the grid, okay? And I'm invested in off the grid. I got lucky enough to have a round, I have nodes, but like just keeping it straight here, I think they did some things well. I think they did a lot of things maybe mediocre to bad in this launch because I think they could have lined up these catalysts and the timing and the marketing pushes in a much better landscape. But regardless, let me know your thoughts down below because look, we have to keep it objective. We have to keep it, as they say, 100 on this channel. So let me know your thoughts down below on the Gunzilla off the grid token launch. I think that this could be bullish long term, but for now, a lot of head scratching things for me as far as the launch today. So guys, tomorrow I'm going to come with a video on how to prepare for mainnet because that is important. There's a lot of people with assets in the game, and you can still jump in the game now and start making Guns token and be able to spend that on items that you can eventually trade when mainnet goes live. So I'll have that video for you guys tomorrow. As always, like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends.